As always, I get involved in something. I had a question from England. I didn't want to delay it. You ready? We are in the second paragraph on page AYIN Ches, is that correct?
Second paragraph, AYIN Ches. We certainly started this page. How far we got, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Spoke about B'kiyas HaNohar, the splitting of the river.
Yes.
The river refers to binah. Binah is where the emphasis on keilim first comes forth. In Chochmah also there is keilim, but the keilim and Chochmah are very fine. They don't conceal the oyer. Then in binah, the keilim begin to develop, and it multiplies, it develops in all kinds of directions. And that's the keilim, because the oil goes into the keilim, so the oil element is, the effect of the oil element is reduced. It's called helem ha'oyer. And in order to bring out the depth that is contained therein, this is to bring out the pnimis of Torah. Just like in Matan Torah originally, there had to be the splitting of the sea to bring forth Torah. The Osid Loved, there be the Torah that is going to be brought forth is a pnimis of Torah. And the pnimis of Torah, in order to bring forth pnimis of Torah, you have to split open the helem that's created by binah. Clearly it's a completely different helem, because the keilim are meant to reveal the chokhmah, the seichel, to contain the seichel. But because there is the containment of the seichel, and it gives the seichel a form that already is instrumental in concealing the oyer of the seichel. And and therefore it has to be split. When it's split, this open, there comes through a completely different oyer. That brings out what's called the etzem ha-chokhmah. 3 lines from the end of the top section, he says, Gilui b'chinas etzem ha-chokhmah. It's a difference between the expression of chokhmah, how binah takes it, and the gilui of the b'china of etzem ha-chokhmah, the essence of the chokhmah. So yesterday we learned it. But this principle that begs an explanation. Why is it by splitting open the binah, this is how Etzem HaChochma is revealed? What about in Chochma itself? Before he went into binah, it was also Etzem HaChochma.
Mm-hmm. And what about in binah? Binah? Well, I guess in binah we said the light is reduced. So
Binah light is reduced.
There's no essence.
So usually these kind of questions are let the question come from the fable, but it wasn't coming forward. But then Baruch asked me this question, so therefore I decided that it's time to discuss it. The principle in this is, you want to take your water? I'll wait for you. The principle in this is that yes, indeed, binah, the keilim of binah, kind of conceal and camouflage the oil that's contained therein, because you're taking it through the keilim. There is what's called the etzem oil, the essence. The essence, thank you, the essence does not come forth in Gilui. The essence is not dependent on being recognized and having the effect. The essence is the principle of the truth itself. That is there whether you recognize it or you don't recognize it. That is there even as expression is, even when it is not there, it is there. That's the essential truth of Torah. So therefore, while Chochma was begilui, even though this is Chochma, and the keilim of Chochma are very refined and allows the whole impact of the oil to come forth, still it is a gili of oil. It's not the etzem. When this oil is concealed in the keilim of binah, through the keilim of binah, that which remains inherently contained therein, that cannot be eliminated, that cannot be concealed, because it's a etzem. That is what springs forth when you break through the binah, when you break through the keilim, when you nullify the helam. When you nullify the helam, then you come to recognize that even that there's an element that even when it was not there, it was also there. It comes out of helam. This is what said that there is a gili etzem hachochma, where in chochma that etzem hachochma was not recognized, did not come to reveal. But by eliminating the helam, and then all of a sudden you recognize there was something underneath this helam that I wasn't aware of, but it was there all the time. Because this is something which cannot be eliminated.
What?
Yeah.
Why? How did the that binah, which is putting things into keilim and then enabling a degree of understanding, why would it be that breaking through that or removing or destroying that would result in the positive of essence? Why would it just not be you left with nothing, basically?
Well, just think of what I just said. Don't take the external. There was something that I said that you're not referring to.
The piece where even in Chokhmah this essence is not there because Chokhmah deals with the or.
No, there's something else also. That underneath the concealment of that are affected by keilim, there is a throbbing essence that is there regardless. In other words, even if you consider it and there's nothing there, within this nothingness there is this truth.
Yeah, I kind of heard that, but I thought, well, if it's not, it was not accessible before binah was developed, why would it be now accessible when binah gets kind of disrupted? It wasn't able to present or be acknowledged before. Comes binah, does its thing. Now you break through binah, something that enables it to be manifest. Yeah, it was there all the time. You take away the binah, suddenly it's better, it's more manifest than before binah was developed.
Okay.
That's what I'm...
Take it a step further, yourself, please. If something is in complete concealment, and yet it remains there. If it's concealed, it's not there. What remains under a state of complete concealment? What happens when you split open the binah, you're discovering that there is something underneath there that cannot be eliminated, that is not dependent on being recognized, which you didn't recognize before. Even in Chokhmah you could not really identify this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was not recognizable all along. Now comes a moment when it's...
Now comes a moment when you see, when you recognize, hey, didn't see anything, there was nothing there, and in this nothingness there was this profound element, principle.
Would it be okay to think or say that on account of the work of binah or the contribution of binah, this that is its foundation can get acknowledged?
Well, there is an element of this, but I'd like you to go a little deeper in that. Yes, there is an element in this. What is the element? The element is, look, I labored in this so much, so deeply, and yet I didn't see it. And the only way to see it is by splitting the whole thing open. How come I didn't see it when I was looking for it? Because this is an invisible element. If you're looking for it for it, and you want to find it through your means of identification, it just it is what's called it goes away from it. It's can't think of the word.
Yeah, it becomes more and more obscured. You go in
becomes more obscured.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're looking to get it, to get the noble aspect of it. And this is not the noble aspect. Only when you split open this heaven and you see, oh, but there is this truth behind it, that's when you reach to this unidentifiable element. The experience that we had as a result of the communists' suffering, the communists set out to eliminate faith in God by using all kinds of methods. First they said, the philosophical we're going to eliminate it. And they staged all kinds of debates. And they said, oh, see, there's nothing there. They failed at that because there was always this one Rav and this one leader who was able to dig up and show the shortcomings of these arguments. Then they said, we are going to force the issue. We're going to subdue all faith by force. We're going to declare faith a crime. And the mention of faith will be punishable. As a result of that, people could not transmit faith to their children because they were scared of causing harm to the children and to themselves. And the children grew up without the mention of faith. You're talking about 2 generations. And then as soon as communism fell, poof, everywhere. Practice of Yiddishkeit, yeshivas, shul, sprouted out of nothingness. Because there was a latent truth in the neshama. And you don't have to identify it in order for it to be there. This latent truth surfaces really only under the circumstances where it is submerged by force. And this is binah is not by force, but binah is a camouflage, so to speak, hides the oil because through the keilim. And then you focus on the keilim, saying that this which you know, this which you understand, that this is all there is to know. When you split that and say, no, this is not the whole thing. That's when the etzem oyer ha-chochma, called etzem ha-chochma, gilu bechinas etzem ha-chochma. It's not even called oyer. Bechinas etzem ha-chochma. Bechinas etzem ha-chochma means the recognition that there is such a thing as etzem ha-chochma. There is the chochma that is recognizable, that shines through. There's the bechin of etzem ha-chochma. And that breaks through when you eliminate, when you show that the keilim of binah, this is not the real thing. You're looking for something different.
And yet, binah has a value, even though ultimately it lands up concealing the essence.
Absolutely. Its value is to bring it down into midas and to bring about Avodas Hashem in Bepei Mamash, Teru Mitzvahs.
Okay, so it's not like by when we use the word concealing, it's not sort of creating something that's counterfeit. It's not creating a fake.
No.
No, it's just creating a certain level of truth. Comes a time when, okay.
Yeah, okay. Good. So this was a misunderstanding that we split open just now.
Yeah, because it did seem to have, as if to push off whatever binah was about, whatever it had accomplished, but it's not that. It's rather a deeper revealing.
Exactly right. Something latent there that you could not identify with. Although he was looking for it, but there's no way for him to identify it. Okay, and we'll start now on the second paragraph on page Ayin Ches.
Can I ask something?
Yes, sir.
We're saying now that about keilim, now the etzem. What is gili? Is it our order?
Gilui, the word gilui. Even though we say over here gilui b'chinas etzem hachochma, and I pointed out that when he's speaking about etzem hachochma, gilui etzem hachochma, he doesn't use the word oyer etzem hachochma. He's talking about b'chinas etzem hachochma. Bechinas, we already explained the word bechina, that it is trying to express something that is not knowable by direct observation. I pointed out just like when the doctors prescribe some kind of a blood test. They have a chemical way to identify various contents of some kind of impurities in the blood. You look at the blood; it's exactly identical blood that of pure blood. But under the test, something that forces it out. That's when you see when this surfaces. This is called bechina. Bechina means a test. The word bechina literally means a test. Under a test circumstances, a test has to be identified, has to be prepared in a very precise and a very controlled manner. Otherwise, it's a false test. It's useless. In those laboratories where they're testing various things, the laboratories are built in a very controlled manner. The first thing has to be pure, total cleanliness. There cannot be any impurities in the air. That already will completely falsify the result, misrepresent the result. You have to have just what you are testing for, and nothing else should be there that can affect it. And you cannot second guess what can affect it. You try to identify something that's very subtle and very deeply camouflaged, and you have no idea. You don't even know what affects it. Bechinas etzem hachochma means this is etzem hachochma. Etzem hachochma means this is not something that is identified before. Even in chochma you weren't aware of it. You were not aware that you have Chokhmah because there is this Nakuda in Chokhmah. Nakuda is already the Gili of Chokhmah. There is the Etzem HaChokhmah. Etzem HaChokhmah is that which is the basis for this Nakuda. And there was no way to relate to this. There's no way to relate to this in a direct search, direct process of identification. There's nothing there to identify.
So the Gili is like attesting to it. That's
No. Bechina is Bechinas. Gilui Bechinas Etzem HaChokhmah.
What's
Gilui
the
means
Gili? The Gili. Okay, and what's the Gili?
the Gilui over here in Etzem HaChokhmah is not, you don't really know what it is, but you know that there is such a thing. That's a Bechinas Etzem HaChokhmah. Not the oil Etzem HaChokhmah, but Bechinas Etzem HaChokhmah. I have proof that it's there. Proof does not tell me what it is.
I didn't get it.
Huh?
Bechinas is the. I didn't get it. Bechinas is the attesting to it. And what's the Gili?
I explained the word Bechina is used to refer to something that cannot be identified by direct search, by direct understanding and knowledge. It proves itself, it proves its presence by itself proving itself, not because you identify it, because you recognize it. This is Bechina. Like we said in the example of testing blood for impurities, you cannot identify these impurities by observing the blood. There's nothing to observe. Just like we say this is
And what's the
microscopic.
my question is, what's the Gili?
The Gilui is that you recognize that it's there. That's all. That's the extent of the Gilui. Recognizing that it's there is a tremendously effective and very powerful recognition.
A recognition not based on any indicators.
Based on indicators,
Oh, they are.
not based on understanding the indicators.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay, let's
Correct.
continue. What? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going into further into these challenging things. Vezehhu,
Not one really.
that's the second paragraph. Vezehhu, this explains the principle. The fact that occasionally we find that in the higher madrigas are mispar hamruba yesh. Mispar, the count is greater. In the higher madriga, if you want to express the madriga on the count level, on the count manner, it's a bigger count. Mispar hamruba yesh. Madriga tachtenis. And then in lower madrigas, misma'id ha-mispar. The count is reduced. So lesser number. But occasionally we have the opposite. that the higher madrega has a lesser number, and the lower madrega has a greater number. What does this mean? What you do, as is known, being an yichidois, asiriois, and meyes. Yichidois means the single digits. Asiriois means the double digit, the tens, and then meyes, this is the triple digits in our format. The Yechida is b'malchus. So it's explained that Yechida is the number that's applicable to Inyonim, the way they are in malchus. Ba'asirois and tens, this is how things are present in Zo. Zo means in midas, in spheres. Meyois, hundreds, the chokhmah binah. This is how the inyanim are in Meich. This is one way of giving a perspective to these different status of single and double and triple. Or there's another way that this is apportioned. The Yechida is that the single digit hein bezo malchus. They are in Zo and malchus. Here malchus and Zo are in the same category. Malchus actually is really the end of Zo. V'asirais and the 10, this is b'chokhmah bin. This is the way it is in chokhmah bin in Meich. Meyo and 100 b'keser. And 100, that is already the way it is in Keser. And Keser is higher than Chokhmah. Higher than Mechin. Keser is in the Madrega of Rotzin or even Oinek. Ukiyodua, as is known, B'mashakosov, in this, what it says in the Pasuk, by Yiyoch HaYisor. The life of Sora was described in the following way: that there was Meyo Shana, 100 years. Then there is Asi, Vesim Shana, and 20 years. And then there was a Sheva Shonim and 7 years. So here, this Pasuk is simply describing Sora's age, 127 years. But there is a very unique element that is revealed in the form that this is given. Because if it once has to say 127 years, it would say Meya, Ve'esim Shon. And here the Pasuk divides them into 3 categories: Meya Shona, Esim Shona, Sheva Shona. Each is a different category. It's not giving you a sum total of her age. It is breaking down into categories. So it's explained, the Sheva B'Zo, that the 7, this is the years as they are contained in Zo. And as we said before, Zo and Malchus. The Esrim and the 20, which is the double digit, is Chokhmah Bina. This is Chokhmah Bina. Umeya B'Keser. And 100 is in Keser. Keser is way beyond, is above the whole Seder Hishtalshelus. It's above the Chokhmah. Chokhmah is like the beginning of Seder Hishtalshelus. And this is beyond Seder Hishtalshelus. Okay, this is it, I think, for this morning. Okay, we had our breakthrough today. I think. Have a great day. This is the end for today.
Disconnected.
Disconnect.